coming up in Judge Fleischer's courtroom.
How's jail?
Not good.
Great. Makes me very happy. The worse of experience you have, the higher likelihood you have of listening. That's all we're asking you to do, Mr. Anguiano. You have all these problems with money, all these issues with money, and yet you come in a Gucci jacket. Really? Really? You are William Bradley Saray?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Mrs. Saray, you're charged with assault, bodily injury. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you, sir.
Okay. On October 25th, 2024, officers were dispatched to a disturbance at a residence in Harris County, Texas. The officer made contact with the complainant, who stated he observed the defendant come into the location appearing intoxicated. The complainant stated he and the defendant got into an argument because the defendant did not like that the complainant had more employees working in the kitchen than the defendant wanted. The complainant stated he went back to work, was turning his back towards the defendant, and the defendant struck him on the right side of his head on the ear with a closed fist, causing pain. The complainant stated the defendant grabbed him around his shoulders and again struck the complainant with a closed fist on the right side of the head and neck, causing pain. Officer made contact with the defendant. The defendant stated he and the complainant got into an argument. The complainant stuck his finger in the defendant's face, contacting the defendant's nose, and the defendant struck the complainant with a closed fist. The officer observed red bruising on the complainant's neck and right ear. HFD observed raised contusion on the back of the complainant's head.
You said alcohol was a factor in this, right? He was drunk or the other?
The defendant appeared intoxicated.
Did they go, he went to an actual restaurant? Is that what he did?
They work at the same restaurant, Your Honor, or worked at the same
Okay.
restaurant.
What kind of work do you do at the restaurant?
Restaurant, sir. Director of operations.
Okay, are you still employed there?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, well, because what I was going to do, one of the conditions that I was going to do was no contact and no going back, because I just don't want you guys to run into each other. I don't want more bad blood. You know, you got out of jail. We gave you a PR bond. You're not going to get another one. My only concern is public safety, and I'm going to do everything to protect every single person. You know, the conditions that I'm going to place on you now, I don't want you consuming alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using, I'm going to put you in jail. No more PR bonds. No more contact with this person and no more weapons. As long as you can abide by these conditions, you and I will be fine. Otherwise, there's only one place to put you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All we want you to do is a little self-control. Everyone you see back there now, it's because they have no self-control. Do you understand? All right. Now you've got a lawyer. I will waive your appearance. You don't have to waste your time coming to court, but you must stay in touch with him and he'll tell you when you have to come back to court. If he tells me he can't get a hold of you, likewise, we'll issue a warrant for your arrest. Anything you guys like to add?
We spoke to the complaining witness yesterday, Judge. He was taken to the hospital. He stayed there he was at Memorial Hermann. He had very severe injuries. He sustained a concussion as far as I know. I've requested the medical records. He has sent photos and he sent me the surveillance footage already. So
Okay.
I witnessed it on video, the act happening. Just wanted you to be aware.
Just, you know, we want to make sure that nothing further happens. You know, we have a myriad of other things, ankle monitors that I don't want to do that at this point. I trust that there won't be any more issues. Just above all else, no alcohol, no dope. That's all we're asking. Okay. Okay. We'll have you meet with Victoria to sign a reset. After that, you'll meet with Fleischer to get your pretrial bond conditions. And after that, you guys will be free to go. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Yes, please.
Yes.
I'm right. Thanks. Good morning, Mr. McGaskey. So you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. Mireles picked up a new case.
Yeah, and he came in, checked in, and left saying he had other places to go.
What?
I warned him that if he left, that more than likely a warrant would be issued for his arrest.
Next time.
I can't because I'm going to take my. That's part of the problem.
All right.
But I agree.
Mr. McGaskey, we're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. Just please don't say it.
Okay. October 26th, officer was dispatched to a major crash in Harris County, Texas. Upon arrival, the officer observed the defendant sitting in the driver's seat of his motor vehicle with his keys in his lap and with an odor of an alcoholic beverage. The defendant stated he drank prior to driving. Standard field sobriety tests were performed. HGN 4 out of 6, walk and turn 4 out of 8, one leg stand 3 out of 4. The DIC was read and the defendant consented to breath, but the defendant was unable to do the test. A blood warrant was then signed and executed.
It was really quick. So where was he?
So it was a major crash in Harris County, Texas, specifically on 2201 Southwest Freeway.
Okay, and then what?
The officer arrived and he was in his driver's seat, and the officer observed his keys in his lap, and then he observed an odor of alcoholic beverage.
Just an odor. Anything else?
And then the defendant made a statement that he drank prior to driving.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Leads you to believe that he's drunk. We have an accident, I get it, but there's just an odor of alcohol. There's nothing, no slurred speech, no bloodshot eyes, just an odor.
Yes, sir. All that was written was the odor was observed, and then the statement made about him drinking.
Asking. I have an accident. All I have is an odor of alcohol. What can you, other than the accident, what can you lead me to believe that he's drunk or intoxicated?
The defendant stated he drank prior to driving.
We don't know how many, we don't know how much, we don't know when it was happened.
Well, Judge, I don't think that's necessary to provide probable cause for the case. He's admitting to drinking, he's got odor of alcohol in the breath, and the accident itself is evidence of intoxication, Judge. All of that, in our opinion, is enough for probable cause.
I don't think so. I mean, usually there's a lot more than just that. An odor, we don't have anything else. I don't know when, I don't know how many, I don't know how strong it is, just an odor.
Not every case has extrapolation or admissions of how many, Judge.
I understand this. I understand, Michael, but I need just a little bit more than just an odor and an accident.
An admission to drinking, Judge?
Okay, we don't know when. The officer can't do any more questions than that. Okay, when did you do it? How many did you have? Did you have anything to eat?
Understood.
All right, no, I'm gonna find no probable cause, Mr. McGaskey. It's very possible that they take it to a grand jury and indict it, but so I would be on the lookout, number one. Number two, you know how many accidents and death we have every day due to alcohol and getting into a car?
Good morning, Judge.
Morning, how are you? Roberto, thanks for coming. Are you Jose De Leon?
Yes, José de León.
Mr. De Leon, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with assault of a family member. You were also charged with interference with the emergency request for assistance. On both of those cases, you were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine.
Un año en la cárcel hasta
We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you, sir.
abogado presente. Si no puedes tener un abogado
Yes,
tú, aquí te ponen un abogado.
The complainant and the defendant are married.
Ustedes
On
también están
October
casados.
27th,
Los que ahora están
2024,
casados.
The officer was dispatched to a
Los
disturbance in
oficiales
Harris County,
mandaron
Texas.
a un lugar donde
The
había
complainant and the
problemas.
defendant were driving home from McDonald's
Estaban ustedes,
and were in a verbal
estaban,
argument.
¿cómo se llama? Yendo
The
del
complainant
balcón
stated
y
she
hubo
told the
un
defendant that she was
argumento de los
leaving.
dos.
So the defendant then grabbed their daughter, and the defendant approached the driver's side of the truck and opened the door. The defendant then grabbed the complainant's left arm and hit her twice on the arm with an open hand, causing pain. The complainant stated that she told the defendant she was calling 911. The defendant then grabbed her phone, threw it on the ground, breaking her phone.
Did you say the hit on the arm hurt?
Yes, Your Honor, caused pain.
Okay. Mr. De Leon, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to uphold your case. Morgan, have you had any contact with the CW in this case? Do you know whether she wants to have contact with him or not?
So, Judge, this is a tweak because I don't believe that a RIP has been conducted. It looks like a protective order interviews.
Was or wasn't?
It was.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
I believe she does want contact.
Well, I want to know, until I know with certainty, I'm going to order no contact, If you guys are able to do it, great. So De Leon, tell me, are you a United States citizen?
Ciudadano americano. President.
I don't know if you are or not, and quite frankly, doesn't matter to me, but you need to understand that if you're not in this country with permission and you go to jail and immigration finds you, they're going to put an immigration detainer on you and you will be stuck in custody until these cases are over with, and then you will be shipped off to immigration where you will wait for another. Come on up. So have you heard PC yet or no?
No.
Okay, so you want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay, do you mind reading it again, please?
No problem. So the complainant and the defendant are married, and on October 27th,
I'm not his counsel. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh.
counsel for Yosnel.
That's what you told me you were his attorney.
No, for Yosnel Lopez. He was waiting in the hall for me. I'm sorry.
You called a jet there, didn't you?
Yes, but he
Okay.
was my court's attorney. So
Roll call.
I apologize for that.
It's okay, not a problem.
Sorry, I don't have to.
Dang, where were we?
Right. Page.
No, I know that.
Immigration.
If you're not in this country with permission and you go to jail, you will be stuck in custody and then shipped off to immigration. I'm putting bond conditions on you now. If you violate these conditions, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. A protective order has been issued in this case. I would suggest that you get to know it, because if you violate the protective order, the state can and will file additional cases against you. And then things will really go sideways. I'm ordering you not to have contact with the complaining witness in this case and not to be in possession of any weapons. Do you understand?
¿Entiendes? ¿Sí o no? Yes.
Any alcohol, Alex?
I don't see the allegation.
No? Okay. We are going to reset your case to give you time to hire lawyers. So I'm going to first have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. After that, we will have you take a seat in the jury box. We will have you sign the bond conditions. And after that, we will get you out of here. When you come back, please have a lawyer. That way, sign a reset and then to the jury. Speak English.
Español.
I'll give you the pieces if we were done with the.
Okay. Yo te voy a hacer todo, ¿ok? Sí, señor. En español te voy a hacer todo.
Ramon Jesus Delgados Caceres.
Señor, Cáceres. Yes, sir.
You are charged with discharging a firearm in the metropolitan area. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney if you cannot afford one. One will be one of two.
Yes, on October 25th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a discharge of a firearm in Harris County, Texas. The officer made contact with the first witness via phone, who stated the defendant was in front of the officer's patrol vehicle by a gray car and provided a description of the defendant. The officer observed the defendant who matched the description, and the defendant was detained, and the officer conducted a search. The officer found no weapons, and the defendant gave verbal permission to search the motor vehicle, where the officer also found no weapons. The officer checked the apartment parking lot around the defendant's vehicle and found 8 .40 caliber fire cartridges and 9 9mm fire cartridges. The first witness stated the defendant was the shooter, and that she was walking towards the dumpster when she observed the defendant standing next to the trunk of his motor vehicle and shoot the gun in the air. The first witness stated she heard approximately 5 shots, and it appeared to be a small handgun. The witness stated on her way home, she heard approximately 5 more shots, and the second witness observed the defendant arguing with other parties, expose the firearm, and shoot 5 to 7 times. The second witness confronted the defendant and observed the defendant grab a black box where he placed the firearm and hid it inside his apartment.
Mr. Delgado Caceres, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Can you run an NCIC search on this gentleman to see if he has any prior criminal history? And Michael, we used to have an order circulating where we could have them relinquish the guns and take them from. Have you seen that? It's been a while. But yeah, we could have them turn them in or have them take it into like a sheriff. There's something that we can do. I'd like to look into that. You know, this kind of scares me. You know, he's got 2 different guns. He's firing at different occasions. People see it. Mr. Delgado, tell me, what is your immigration status? Are you in this country with or without permission?
The process of being a resident.
Estoy en trámite del permiso. En trámite del permiso.
¿Ya te está con permiso aquí?
Sí.
I am with the permit over here. I am with the permit.
No se venció.
No se venció.
Yo estoy en proceso de trámite de los permisos.
I am in the process of
You need to understand, if there's any problem with your paperwork
si no hay caso
and
de
you go to
problema,
jail and immigration finds you,
inmigración
they're going to
le
put a
cuenta con-
detainer on you and you will be stuck like Chuck in custody until these cases are over with and then shipped off to immigration. Do you understand?
Tiene que entender eso.
No, yo estoy legal con migración.
I am,
I want you to understand that it doesn't matter to me. In immigration, if you don't have every single I dotted, every single T crossed, they're going to put a detainer on you.
atención
And I'm going to tell you now, if I find that you're a danger to my public, I'm going to make your bond extremely high. Do you understand? When you shoot a gun, what goes up must come down. And when you shoot it down, it may ricochet. And if it hits someone and it kills them, who gets charged with murder?
¿Quién va a estar acusado de muerte? Okay, okay.
I'm ordering you not to be in possession of any weapons, and I'm going to test you for drugs and alcohol as well. I'm ordering you not to consume any alcohol, any illegal drugs at all. If I find that you're using, if I find that you're in possession of a weapon, I will put you in jail. As it stands now, I'm going to see about having you relinquish those guns to a sheriff's office. Do you understand?
Hay que entregarle esas armas a la oficina de sheriff.
No, abogado.
¿Entiendes? No, I don't have no weapons.
For now, I'm going to have you sign a reset with Victoria, and then I'm going to have you take a seat in the jury box while we figure out how to do
Algunos
this.
documentos acá y de que te
Do not leave, otherwise I will issue a warrant for your arrest.
vayas, que te vas, te vamos a capturar.
No, no.
Okay, vete por acá.
All right, Judge, next is page 16.
I'm trying to get all the Spanish speakers now. Do you have a Spanish one? Okay, she has a Spanish one. Okay, all right. Sorry, I would have done it first. Had I known, I would have done it first.
She came in after
You said Villalobos?
Yes, Judge, page 16.
Good morning, Mr. Villalobos.
Ya vieron
Mr. Villalobos, you're charged with driving while intoxicated, second offense.
los cabras,
You
segunda
are
vez.
facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine.
$4,000 de multa pueden darte.
We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On October 25th, 2024, the officer conducted a traffic stop on the defendant's motor vehicle. After observing it travel at a high rate of speed, 71 miles per hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone, while driving northbound on Hillcroft Avenue. Upon contact with the defendant, who was the sole occupant and driver of the motor vehicle, the officer observed him to have glossy eyes, slurred speech, and poor balance. The defendant admitted to drinking prior to operating the motor vehicle. Standard field sobriety tests were administered. HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 5 out of 8, one leg stand 2 out of 4. The DIC was red, and the defendant consented to breath. The results were 0.152 and 0.158.
Mr. Villalobos, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. Are you a United States citizen?
Ciudadano americano? No.
Are you in this country with or without permission?
En este país con permiso, sin permiso. Sin permiso. Without.
What happens if you go to jail?
Eso si te vas a la cárcel.
No sé, me puede dar migración.
I don't know. Immigration can come.
Ah, that's what I'm trying to impart to you. If you go to jail and immigration finds you, you will spend a considerable amount of time in there waiting first to finish this case and then get shipped off to immigration where you will sit for another 6 to 9 months waiting for them to do whatever they're going to do. If you do not want that to happen, follow the bond conditions I put on you now. Because if you violate it and you become a danger to my public, I'm only going to put you in one place. You do not have a Texas driver license, do you?
No, he does not know.
You're not allowed to drive. You will be signing an affidavit with me today promising me you're not going to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. You cannot justify getting in a car for any reason whatsoever. Because it's a second offense, I'm ordering you to obtain a handheld portable interlock device that you're going to take with you to prove to me that you're not consuming alcohol. If you consume alcohol, illegal drugs, or if you drive, you will go to jail. No more PR bonds for you. Do you understand?
¿Eres todo lo que te dije? ¿Sí o no?
Yes.
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 This is the only warning that you will get from me, so I hope that you heed it. Because if not, there's only one place.
Si no, si no lo cumple, pues ya se van a hacer.
Your Honor, would there be any consideration in waiving the portable device fees?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
To me, money doesn't matter. What matters is how you act. To me, money doesn't matter. My only consideration is how you act when you're out there in the free world. If you act like a fool, then we'll take the free world away from you. You act like a child, I'll put you around and I'll spank you like a little child, but I'll do it with a bunch of jail time. A week. Okay, so Mr. Villalobos, I will waive your appearance so you don't have to waste your time coming to court. But you must stay in touch with counsel. They will tell you when you have to come back to court. If they tell me that they can't get a hold of you because you're playing games, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. I'm not asking much from you. Just don't drive, don't use, and stay in contact. And don't pick up any new cases. I'm gonna have you swear to us here that you're not gonna drive. I'll get you to Victoria Center reset. You'll get with Felicia for your bond conditions, and after that, you're free to go. Okay, thanks, guys.
Page 7.
It's really great to see you.
Great to see you too. I'm good. How are you, Judge? I know. How are you doing?
Wonderful.
Good.
Who do we have here?
Mr. Figueroa, Javier Figueroa. It's a first DWI, first offense of any kind.
Morning, Mr. Figueroa.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you, sir.
On October 24th, 2024, officers were dispatched to a major crash in the 14300 block of White Heather Drive, where the defendant was involved in a single car accident. The officer observed the defendant in the front driver's seat of the motor vehicle when they arrived on scene to provide assistance. Upon contact with the defendant, the officer detected an odor of an alcoholic beverage, and the defendant admitted to drinking 7 12-ounce cans of Modelo. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted, HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 4 out of 8, one leg stand 2 out of 4. The GIC was red and the defendant consented to breath. The results were 0.10 and 0.09.
What did you say the stop was for? I zoned out.
It was a
Single
one
vehicle crash.
single car accident.
All right, Mr. Figueroa, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license?
It's right now expired, but I'm working on it. I got an appointment next Friday.
You don't have a license.
It's expired. It was expired.
Then I'm ordering you
Yes.
not to drive. You're not allowed to drive. I don't care what's going on in your life. I don't care if there's a burning building and you have to save 50 kittens. If you don't have a license and liability insurance, do not drive. There's no quicker way to get to jail than to drive in violation of this. Do you understand? I'm telling you now, nothing chaps my boca more than when you drive without a license and insurance. Don't do it. I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using alcohol or drugs, likewise, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. I absolutely love her to death, but I don't care however much I love her. You start acting a fool, I'm going to put you in jail in a heartbeat, in a moment's notice. Do you understand? If you are somehow able to get your license, come back to me, show me that you have your license, show me that you have insurance, and we will take this off. But until that point, do not drive. You understand? I will have you sign this affidavit. promising us you're not gonna drive. I'll get you to Victoria, sign a reset. I'll get you to Felicia to sign bond conditions, then you guys are out of here. I will waive your appearance. You don't have to waste your time coming to court, but you must stay in touch with Ms. Strauss and she will tell you when you have to come back to court. If she tells me that she can't get a hold of you, only one thing's gonna happen. Do you understand? Okay, guys, thanks. That way. You too.
All right, Judge, case one, Agete.
All right. Are you Yosniel Lopez? Is it Ajete? All right, sir, you're charged with liquor sale without a permit. You are facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney if you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
Yes, Judge. On October 25th, 2024, the officer conducted a vice investigation at a bar known as Poppy's in Harris County, Texas. The officer received a tip that the bar was operating illegally by selling alcohol without a permit, as well as selling during prohibited hours. The officer observed the defendant serving drinks behind the bar sometime after 2:30 a.m. The officer was able to purchase a White Claw from the defendant, and the officer verified on the TABC website that the location did not have a permit to sell liquor.
He just had one dismissed as well.
Yes, Judge.
Same place?
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Arquette, I'm gonna find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. I need to put conditions on him not to do this anymore. What is your immigration status? Are you in this country with or without permission?
Ilegalmente. No, I am a U.S. citizen.
You're a
I am a
United
US citizen.
citizen. I am ordering you now not to work in any bar whatsoever. I'm ordering you not to work in any establishment where 50% or more of liquor sales are the primary purpose of the establishment. Do you understand?
Yes.
You just had one dismissed and now you're back, not 4 months later. If I find that you do this again, I'm going to put you in jail and I'm going to make your bond high. Do you understand?
Yes.
This means no bars, nightclubs, anything of this nature where 50% or more alcohol is sold. Do you understand? If I find that you do, I'm going to put you in jail. I will not give you any more PR bonds and I'm going to make it high.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to have you sign a receipt with Victoria. After that, we'll have you take your seat in the jury box while we get your bond conditions. We'll have you sign it. And after that, you'll be free to go. Thanks, counsel. Can you file that, guys, please? Are you Jeffrey or Joe Greathouse?
Sir.
Mr. Greathouse, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. So he also has an evading arrest in a motor vehicle and an FSRA. Dead body?
No, Judge.
Okay.
Now it's charged over.
All right.
Yes, Judge. The officer attempted to initiate a traffic stop in Harris County, Texas, after observing the defendant driving a blue Corvette on the wrong side of the road. The officer could clearly see that the defendant was in the driver's seat and the witness, a female, was in the passenger seat. The defendant refuses to stop and the officer observed the defendant to run 3 stop signs. The officer lost sight of the defendant, but heard over the radio that a blue Corvette hit a cyclist 2 lights ahead of where the officer lost sight of the defendant. The witness informed the officers that the defendant lost control of his car, hit a pole, and then hit the complainant on her bicycle. The witness stated the defendant left the scene after hitting the complainant. The officers shortly thereafter located the defendant's vehicle and conducted a felony traffic stop. At this point, the defendant was in the passenger seat while the female witness was in the driver's seat. A DWI investigation began after the officers observed a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, slurred speech, and glossy eyes from the defendant. The defendant refused all SFSTs and refused a breath sample. A search warrant was signed and executed.
Intoxication assault?
I mean, this is a fairly recent case, Judge, so we don't have any medical records or anything back, but I've been in contact with BCD about potentially.
What's the condition of the complaining witness? Do we know?
What I believe, just from what we have, just from I think the DMs, is that she has a broken leg and that I know she was transported to Memorial Hermann, but that's all we have so far.
Mr. Greathouse, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you now not to drive at all. You will be signing an affidavit with me, promising me you're not going to drive. I don't care what is going on in your life. I don't care if Jesus comes down and needs a ride to church. You drive. And every time you drive, I will have a contempt hearing. You will be facing 6 months in jail and a $500 fine every time you get into a car and drive. Do you understand? I'm also ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs, and I'm going to randomly test you. In fact, I'm going to send you now for a drug test because I want to know what, if anything, is in your system. Felicia, I'd like to send him now. If you fail to go take a drug test, if you fail to come back, I'm going to make your bond extremely high. Do you understand? Prior to you leaving now, though, you will be promising me that you're not going to drive for any reason. I am also going to put a Scram ankle monitor on your leg so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. If I find that you consume alcohol, and I don't care what the source is, then likewise you will go to jail. Do you know that every single day in Houston, in Harris County, someone dies from an alcohol-related collision? Every single day, someone dies in our county because of alcohol. It is a sick, a disgustingly sick and sobering statistic. Every day, someone dies. I don't want you to say anything, but I want you to understand that I will do everything in my power. Every resource that I have, I will use at my disposal to prevent anyone from dying under my watch. And if that means putting you in jail and making your bond $500,000, I will do it in a heartbeat. All I'm asking you to do are several things. Don't drive and don't use. Do you understand? Okay, I want to send him for a test now, and then we'll have him come right back, and then we'll finish with bond conditions.
And how many days for this round?
Today. I'm going to have you swear to us that you're not going to drive, and then we'll send you for the test right now. Good morning, Mr. Harris.
Morning, how you doing, Your Honor?
Sir, you're charged with resisting arrest. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
On October 26, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, in response to a suspicious person. The complainant stated that someone had been beating on his door for 15 minutes. While the officers were speaking to the complainant pointed out the defendant as the person who had been knocking. The complainant had a ring camera to show the defendant was the person knocking on the door. The defendant admitted to being intoxicated, and the officer advised the defendant to go home and stop bothering the complainant. The officer left, but shortly after, the complainant called back, stating the defendant was damaging property in the bed of the complainant's truck. The officer returned and attempted to detain the defendant. While the officers were reaching for the defendant's wrist, the defendant yanked his arms back twice away from the officer. The defendant was being placed under arrest for public intoxication.
Now's not the time. Okay, you will get the opportunity to fight the case. Just now's not the time. I've got a bunch of DAs here. Anything you say, they're going to use it against you. It's just not the time. Mr. Harris, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to randomly test you. If I find that you're using, I'm going to lock you up. I'm not asking much. I'm also ordering you not to go back to this place. Do you understand? What do you do for a living, sir? What do you do for a living?
What I do for a living, nothing as of right now.
How old are you?
23.
You graduate from high school?
I did, sir.
Okay, so what are you gonna do with the rest of your life?
Looking for a job. I had just currently moved to a new address, so I'm looking in the area for a job.
When is the last time you've had a job?
The end of May, beginning June.
Which year?
This year. I was at Pilot gas station. I was a cashier and a / field attendant.
I just talked.
I had moved. Like I said, I moved it into a different address.
How are you getting money now? Who do you live with?
My mom and my stepfather.
It's time for you to start working.
Of course.
Too much time on your hands, you're becoming self-destructive. This is not a good way to go through life, Mr. Harris. You know, you got no job, you got no money, you got no prospects. The older you get, the harder life becomes. If you don't have a job, if you ain't got no knowledge, you'll go nowhere in life, penniless when you're 50. That's not a way to go through life. So I want you to get a full-time job. I'm making that a condition of your bond. You understand?
Yes, sir. I do have footage of me not resisting. It's on my aunt's security camera.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just going to put that out
I'm
there.
going to appoint your lawyer today. My only concern is that you make something of yourself, Mr. Harris.
Of course, of course.
One of those statistically just nothing bums that have nothing.
I plan on going to college as well, so I will do something with my life.
Your lawyer today. I'm going to bring you back in 2 weeks, and I want to see what you've done to get a job. If you've done nothing, it's not going to go well between us. Do you understand? Okay. Let me see if I have an application. I need you to fill out an application for me. Deputy's going to give you an application for an appointed lawyer. I'm going to have you go to Victoria Center Reset, and then I'm going to have you take your seat in the jury box. Okay? All right. Are you Jessica Johnson? Ms. Johnson, you're charged with terroristic threat of a family or a household member. That kicks it up to a Class A misdemeanor. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one will be appointed to you.
Yes, Judge. On October 25th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, in reference to a terroristic threat. The officer made contact with the complainant. The complainant stated he argued with the defendant, his girlfriend, over the defendant video chatting with a male acquaintance, naked and masturbating. The complainant woke up to the defendant again, naked and masturbating to the same male, and asked the defendant if she wanted to have sex. The defendant said no and began to argue with the complainant for asking too much. The defendant stated she would hurt herself, punch the complainant, then call the officer if he were to call the officer first. The complainant drove the defendant to a gas station, dropped her off, and later received a message on social media from the defendant with a picture of the license plate, a picture of the complainant, and a message that the complainant better lock his door and my homie lives nearby, you gonna pick me up. The officer made contact with the defendant. The defendant stated she did not make any threats, and the complainant made domestic threats against her. The defendant consented to search of her phone, and the officer located the messages to the complainant, stating to lock his doors and images of the complainant's face and license plate.
What is the threat? Sends a picture of a license plate.
And of his face saying he better lock his door, and then the message that her homie lives nearby. And then she had previously stated that she would punch the complainant.
Which is the, I mean.
I'll see how it was pled, Your Honor.
Says here that on or about October 25th, threatened to commit an offense involving violence, namely an assault upon a person with the intent to place complainant in imminent serious bodily injury. It has to be on October 25th. Look at October 25th, what happened on that day.
Yes, Your Honor. On that day, all that we have is that prior to being dropped off the gas station, she told the complainant that she would punch him. And then he dropped her off at the gas station, and then she sent him the pictures of himself, his license plate, Instead, he better lock his door.
And you're doesn't
That's-
work like that. You can't
Yes,
just piggyback. There's
Yes,
no
Judge.
bootstrapping. It's
I believe
I would
it,
argue that the punching, telling him that she's going to punch him in the face would have been the terrorist.
when was that?
it was the same day on October 25th.
So they got into an argument at the house, and then he was driving her to the gas station. And I think during the drive, she said that she was going to punch him in the face.
And then that's when he dropped her off, and then he later got the messages. But there was that initial threat of being punched.
Right.
And it says that in the OR that
In the DMs that the complainant stated that she would, or the defendant stated she would punch him. Yes, that's what stated in the DMs. That's the threat of violence in the DMs that we have.
Ms. Johnson, I'm going to find probable cause for now. Do you have a lawyer? Okay, what do you do with yourself these days? Are you working?
I'm from Ohio. I was just here visiting a friend and he wanted more.
Let's do this. I'm going to pull it over today so that you guys can talk and figure out what the dynamic is, because maybe there's more to it that I'm not seeing. For now, I'm going to order you not to have contact with this person and not to be in possession of weapons. I'm going to get you a lawyer. You guys talk about this, and then we'll see where it goes. Okay. So for now, I'm going to have you sign a wreath of Victoria. I'll just have you take a seat momentarily in the jury box. I'll have you speak to someone here momentarily, and then we'll go forward. Okay? Please, ma'am. Are you Abraham Romero?
Sir.
Mr. Romero, you're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes. On October 27th, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a minor accident in Harris County, Texas. The accident was a single vehicle accident running over a fence, and upon arrival, the officer observed the defendant's motor vehicle to be running and on, saw smoke coming from the hood of the vehicle, and observed damage to a metal fence of the property. Upon contact with the defendant, who was the sole occupant and driver of the motor vehicle, the officer observed the defendant to have slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, an odor of an alcoholic beverage, and noticed him to be unsteady on his feet and having a hard time maintaining balance. The officer also observed Corona bottles in plain view on the front passenger floorboard. The defendant admitted to drinking and to being drunk. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted. HGN 6 out of 6. One leg stand and walk and turn could not be completed due to safety concerns. The DIC was read and the defendant consented to breath. The results were 0.193 and 0.191.
Run his inside, see if he has any prior DPIs, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Romero, is it Romero or Romero?
Sir.
With an O. We need to do the name change, please. It should be Romero, not Romero. I've never met a Romero. Mr. Romero, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Do you have a valid Texas driver license? Do you have valid liability insurance in your name?
Sir.
You have car insurance?
Sir.
I'm ordering you, can you run his license also, Alex?
Yes, Your Honor. And no prior DWIs.
Okay. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. I will randomly test you. If I find that you're using, I'm going to put you in jail. You will not get any more PR bombs. What do you do for a living, Mr. Romero?
I work at IO Bush, sir. The airport of Bush.
Okay, doing what?
A warehouse agent.
How much money do you make a month?
$15 an hour.
Who do you live with?
My parents.
We're going to give you time to hire a lawyer. You need to get on it quick. There's a lot of timing requirements with the DWIs. Don't sit and wait a month or two because you're only hurting yourself. You need to get on it quick. I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. We're going to get you out of here to hire a lawyer. After that, you'll meet with Fleischer for your bond conditions. And then after that, you'll be free to go. Beware. Don't use alcohol. Don't use any illegal drugs. Do you understand?
Sure.
Okay, buddy. Please.
Your Honor, there were no records found for the driver's license of this defendant in our system. So
Do you have a Texas driver license? Okay. Are you Tariq Shafi?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Shafi, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with driving while intoxicated. You're also charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. On the gun case, you're facing up to a year and or a $4,000 fine. On your DWI, you're facing up to 6 months of jail and or a $2,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
on October 26, 2024, the officer was dispatched to a possible DWI with a follower. Upon arrival, the officer conducted a traffic stop on the defendant's motor vehicle due to a reasonable suspicion of driving while intoxicated on West M. Houston Tollway in Harris County, Texas. The follower observed the defendant's motor vehicle swerving in and out of its lanes on the ramp to West M. Houston Tollway and while on the main lines, as well as strike an unknown passing motor vehicle. Upon contact with the defendant, the officer observed a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage, red bloodshot eyes, and saw the defendant swaying while standing and walking. The defendant admitted to drinking and to having a holstered firearm, a Glock 22 on his right hip. Standard field sobriety tests were conducted, HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 6 out of 8, one leg stand 2 out of 4. The GIC was read and the defendant consented to breath. The results were .084 and .085. No, Your Honor.
License?
Eligible, Your Honor.
Mr. Shafi, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. I'm ordering you as a condition of your bond not to consume alcohol or illegal drugs. We're going to randomly test you. For find that you're using alcohol or any illegal drugs, you will go to jail. You will not get any more PR bonds. Do you understand? You speak English, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. So I'm going to have you go to Victoria, sign a reset. You'll get with Felicia for your bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. Don't wait on your lawyer search. Get on it quick. There's a lot of timing requirements.
No, he didn't show up yet. I hired them yesterday.
Who?
Dunham and Jones. And some attorney named Darrell was supposed to be here.
I don't see anything filed. We can wait a little bit. A lot of times they go to a bunch of other courts. I know that they're very busy. So, I mean, eventually they'll get here. Just be patient. We'll have you sign all the documents. That way you're ready with that. And then we'll just wait for them to get here. So if you'd be so kind just to wait in the pew over there, we'll wait. Okay? Okay, please. All right, so Mr. Santana, you're charged with unlawful restraint. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On October 29th, 2024, officers were dispatched to a residence in Harris County, Texas, regarding a disturbance in an unknown weapon. Upon arrival, the officers met with the witness who stated the defendant and the complainant's child came to his door asking for help, stating that the defendant was fighting with the complainant and he had locked her in the bedroom. Upon the officer's arrival, the defendant released the complainant after at least 15 minutes of confinement, and the officers observed the complainant with bloodshot eyes appearing to have been crying and was visibly upset. The complainant advised that she and the defendant got into a verbal argument, and when she attempted to leave, the defendant got in front of her, closed and blocked the door, and the complainant advised that the defendant ignored her, repeated pleas that he release her. The defendant pushed the complainant back away from the door repeatedly, grabbed her, holding her in place, and then took her to the bathroom and pushed her up against the wall. The defendant then punched the mirror, shattering the glass, a piece of which fell and cut the complainant's right hand. The complainant had told the officers she is afraid for her safety and she would like a mower.
Judge, this complainant has been a complainant in a previous case, another AFM in 2021, in which the defendant was put on.
What happened with the deferred? Did he complete it successfully?
It looks like it was terminated, Judge.
You spoken to her?
I have spoken to her. She reached out to us yesterday because the defendant had contacted her as soon as he got out. He was released from jail, and she contacted our office very frantic, and that's why we asked him. Victoria asked him to come here today because the complainant really wants them all outside.
Putting a monitor on your ankle, Mr. Santana. I don't want you going anywhere near her, and I'm going to restrict your movement as well. If I find that you go anywhere near this person within 1,000 feet of where she lives or where she works, I'm going to put you in jail and I'm going to make your bond sky high. Do you understand?
Sure.
You're not to have any contact with this person, not to be in possession of weapons, not to consume alcohol, illegal drugs, and I'm going to test you to make sure that you're not using. Do you understand? I'm entering in what's called a magistrate's order for emergency protection. This is a court order that identifies Ms. Salcedo as a protected individual. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person. commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot stalk, threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot be in possession of a weapon. This usually goes within it, has a 200 feet residential and employment restriction. I'm making it 1,000. Do you understand?
Can I ask a question? What about my kids? Like,
You're going to have to use someone else. You will have to use an intermediary to get access to your kids. You cannot have any contact with this person.
no, with her, but picking them up from the house.
Someone else. You have a child with this person?
I have all my kids, 4.
You have 4 kids with this person.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to use someone else. So let's do this. Do you have you have her phone number now? Can you reach out to her now and see if there is someone that she trusts, an intermediary, to help facilitate, exchanges with the kids? That way we know he has this one person that she feels comfortable with to be able to exchange kids.
Yeah, I know that she did mention someone to me yesterday. She is a teacher at a school, so I have no guarantee that she'll pick up the phone right this instant,
Okay.
but I will.
It's okay. I mean, right, let's try it.
Yeah.
If you can, great. If not, we'll have to find some other workable solution. I want you to have access to your kids. You should have access to your kids, but I just don't want you to have any contact with this person. That's it. And I don't want you to use, I've got kids. I use that as an excuse to try to make any kind of contact with this person whatsoever.
So what if she contacts me?
You hang up the phone. I'm going to tell her now not to have contact with you. So I'm going to have advise the DAs to call her and tell her not to have contact with you. If she calls you, don't pick up. If she calls you from an unknown number and you answer the phone and it's her, hang up. If she texts you, don't reply. If she emails you, don't reply. If she comes to your house, don't open the door. I seriously doubt that these things are going to happen because, as it sounds, she's pretty scared of you. So
we've been together 19 years, and
Judge, she advised me that they broke up 2 years ago. He's a truck driver and doesn't really come by the house often anyway. She just hasn't moved out of the house, but she was in the process of moving out, and he discovered that, and that's what he got angry about, which is what the CW told me. I'm gonna go ahead and give her a call and let her know what you said. Judge, just give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, look, there's no rush. Take your time. The other thing is that in the MOA, if she doesn't want him to know the address, we can just put any address and we don't list it in the MOA so that he doesn't know where the address is. And then we can find a mutually, a mutually agreed to location where you guys can exchange the kids. She'll have someone else to take the kids to that location. That way you can get them, for an agreed upon time for however long it may be, There's always a way to be able to do this without you having to go to jail. I mean, if you go to jail, it's because you've done something to violate these conditions. I don't get off on putting people in jail. I just want my public safe. That's all I want.
I have one more question, sir.
Shoot.
She said I'm a truck driver.
It works everywhere, all over the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, I want assurance that you're not going to go over there. You're not going to try to do anything with this person. We have enough death and destruction in Harris County. I'm trying to prevent any more from happening. Okay. And I will even pay for it for you so that there's no excuse. That's about a $400 bill that I'm going to eat every month so that you don't have to, pay for it. So I want you to understand that money is never an excuse. It's just, as long as you can abide by these conditions, you'll be fine with us. That's it. Have you signed the order for protection? We'll have you sign a receipt, and then we'll just have you take your signature box.
I'm approaching, the last name is Amy, A-M-Y. He's in custody.
Okay.
Can we hear PC on this one, Judge?
Sure, of course.
Yes, sir. The officer observed the defendant speaking to 2 other individuals and conducting a hand-to-hand transaction. The officer stopped his vehicle near the defendant, and when the defendant saw the officer, he started leaving on his bicycle. The officer began to follow the defendant, and the defendant actively avoided the officer by changing directions frequently. The officer stopped the car and told the defendant to stop. The defendant continued to flee until losing his balance on his bike. And the defendant stated he did try to flee because he had an active parole warrant. So
What was he doing wrong?
the officer observed what appeared to be a hand-to-hand narcotics transaction.
Okay. Was the other person doing it? Did he do it?
It was
Did they find any dope?
probably county dope, but what they did observe was him on his bike and stopping with someone else.
And did he even notify himself as police? You know, one of the conditions on an evading arrest is you have to notify that you're a police, that you're a police officer. You can't just yell, stop.
Let me see the dims.
Sure.
You have that the officer was riding in a marked patrol vehicle as he was following the defendant. So there is that, as well as.
Does that imply?
My
I
client
don't
was
know.
on a bicycle. He was riding a bike.
And that's when they were following him in the marked patrol vehicle while he was on his bicycle and then yelling at him to stop.
Did they find any evidence of a narcotics transaction? They obviously didn't find him with any dope. Did they find him with like a large cash? And then let's look at the statute. What is your argument?
Well, my argument is that he was just riding his bike. In the DIMS, it does say, and I quote, I just lost it. The defendant looked at me and attempted to flee. I don't know how you attempt to flee.
Well, I guess just go the other way from him.
That's fleeing though.
And then it says in the DIMS as well that the officer observed the defendant look at the marked patrol vehicle and then change directions as he viewed.
You know how many people do that? You know how many people just look at a police car? I do it too.
Yes, Your Honor.
He's also riding.
Sure too.
He's riding a bicycle. He needs to pay attention to traffic.
Your Honor, the only thing is that that took place after what appeared to be a hand-to-hand narcotics transaction. That's what the officer wrote in the DIMS.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. All right,
Yes,
no
Judge.
problem.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
All
Maybe.
right, yes, ma'am.
So the defendant and complainant's eldest daughter is 17 years old. She has a driver's license. The complainant trusts her to act as an intermediary.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That
she,
helps.
she also did give me the name of a friend who, her name is Chrissy Guerrero. She trusts her as well. As
long as, I mean, so we have this, your oldest, I guess, is a 17-year-old. She drives. So we can use her as the intermediary to be able to help you get access to all the kids, you know? I think that'll work great. So I'm not preventing you access from any of your kids. I just don't want you to have contact with her. So if your 17-year-old has a cell phone, which I'm sure she does, right? Call her. Right, and you can use her to be able to, you know, see and speak to everybody else. Just don't, under any reason, have any contact with her whatsoever.
And she did say that if he ever needs to go to the home or anything, she'll leave the house so that he
That's
can
right.
temporarily go in. So she's being very cooperative and understanding.
That was my question, yeah, because I'm never home.
But you can't do that. We've got an order for protection.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's either there or it's not.
Okay.
So I don't want to have so many blurred lines that they're, you know what I mean?
So just to make it clear, he
now
can't have
I don't
access
want you to go back to this house for the time being. I don't want you to go back to this house. I don't want you to accidentally pop in and she's there and then everything goes haywire.
No. Like, it's just when she's not there, like.
No.
Because she told my daughter this morning, like I'm about to leave out of town, and she told my daughter, well, to her dad to come in. She said, work, get his clothes and get whatever I need, and.
Don't go back to this house.
How much stuff is there, Mars?
You have to use someone else to get it. Don't go back to this house. Don't. I don't want something to happen where she's accidentally there and you think that she's not there and you go and then boom. Don't. I'm trying to prevent anything worse from happening. That's it. All right?
I'll use my daughter.
All right. We're going to reset your case to give you time to hire lawyers. So we'll have you sign all these bond conditions, and after that, you'll be free to go. But hold on a second, because you're going to have to sign the order for protection. You don't need to file anything because we're going to have him monitor over there. So that way, okay?
Sounds good, Judge.
All right, bud. So we'll have you sign a reset, and then we'll have you meet with Felicia here momentarily. Okay? Counsel. Yes, sir.
And before we proceed on the bond issue, I do want to make the court aware that I have spoken to Attorney Haddad and showed him some evidence, provided evidence to him, in which he extended an offer of a 1-month PTI with 2 classes, one an anger management class and the other thanking for a change class, which we've accepted pending this court's approval.
I never have a problem with someone working a deal to where, you know, a case gets dismissed. Yeah, I like that, right? Because I want people to better themselves. But you're here now on another bond violation. Another bond violation. How do we get through to you that you understand we mean business? You don't get to do things your way when you have an open criminal case. You have bond conditions, you're supposed to follow those bond conditions.
I don't know the exact details. I've reached out to the pretrial services and asked for like the exact
Find
details.
out now. As soon as she's done with this, gentlemen, we'll find out.
And my understanding was like a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes late home. And I understand 10 o'clock is 10 o'clock, Judge, but it wasn't like last time where he was in and out of the house at all hours of the night.
But no means no.
I understand, Judge. I understand.
Yes, Judge.
This on Mr. Shirez. Oh, I see here. Okay, I see. So she wrote here that he has 2 violations. On 10:25, he was 10 minutes late, and then on 10:27, 9 minutes late. Why are you late?
Traffic.
What are you doing?
First, I had a friend, I was helping out his dad. And then my second time, I was helping another friend out, just trying to get some money, helping them on their land.
If I drug test you now, what's going to show up?
I hope I'm clean. Last time.
No, this isn't hope like you.
Judge, he's been testing at home because he's trying to get his TWIC card and they're waiting for the test to come up clean. So they've been constantly testing. They told me that it seems like it's fading away, but we were only here a couple of weeks ago. So I think it still might show some marijuana in the system, possibly. That's why he says he hopes it would be clean.
So we tested him on 10/8. October 8th, we told him in 40 days he'd be tested again.
Yes, Your Honor. And we have that setting pending.
Late ever again, I'm going to put you in jail. Even a minute. You understand?
Sir.
If you're out there doing whatever you're doing, consider beforehand what you're doing. Am I doing this? Am I going to get home late? You have it there for a reason. And I hope, above all else, you are not using any kind of illegal drugs. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There's absolutely no tolerance from now on. Even a minute late, I'm going to take him in. And now I'm still testing him 40 days from that day.
Yes, sir. Understood.
All right. Okay. All right, Mr. Shirez. Go to it. It would probably behoove you to get all these things done as quick as possible to get this thing dismissed. Do you understand? Okay, all right, guys. That one.
Real quick, on this issue with Moab and the family cases, I practice a lot of family law, and I don't know if, to facilitate these visitations and possession of access. Yeah, I don't know if you know that or not, but across the street we use co-parenting apps. And you may want to, I don't know if you want to consider.
I don't know how that works though.
So it's very easy, where there's three main ones that we use. Two of them are free, but they have like in-app purchases that have more comprehensive. The other one is like this annual subscription of like $120 a year. Both parents subscribe to it. It's on their phones. It's an app. Anything that they say they must, like when we have supervised visits, we order people across the street to use that. All communications must be held within there. That has read receipts. So read receipts when the messages were sent, when they were viewed, and if you ever have to come to court, it easily prints out. You don't have to have a screenshot after screenshot of messages. So it prints out. You can print out all of them in a PDF.
Is it a way of them being able to talk but still access to the court system so everybody can see what's going on?
So that's the way we pitch it to them, is like, you understand that anything you say here, it potentially the judge will. So there's three of them that we mainly use. One is App Close. That's a free one.
Okay, what is it?
The first one is App Close, AppClose.
Okay.
The other one is Talking Parent. Those are the two free that offer like a basic texting or email service, but then they have other things like calendaring and other, where if they're ordered to pay like medical bills, they can share the medical bill information on there. The third one is more comprehensive. It's called Our Family Wizard. That's the one that has the annual subscription fee.
Which is the best?
Our Family Wizard is the best. But yeah, it's got all the bells and whistles on it.
Thanks. Yeah. Take a look at it and then see whether that's something that we can actually order for them to do that way.
I've done a lot of my family violence cases that I've come over here for. We've carved out special provisions regarding possession and access and stuff like that.
It works. Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
What is the one thing I asked you not to do?
Not to drink, sir.
And what do we have?
I did it, sir.
Mr. Garza, I have no choice. I asked you to do one thing. What'd you do? You're consuming alcohol. It goes with you. Meet with me in back. Alex.
Vámonos para abajo porque si le estás dando la contra al juez es falta de respeto. Escuche, juez. No, he had to say
Mr. Whitetek, I want you to understand that I like to help people. I like to help people when they do well, but when they act in a certain way, I'm not going to continue to give them gifts. I want you to understand. Quiet. I want you to understand that we mean business here. We're not here to play games. We're not here to make you happy. We're not here to make everybody else happy. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is public safety. And when you continually put the public in danger, and when you continue to mess up, good things are not going to happen. You now have been kicked out of the pretrial intervention program for one reason or the other. I got to imagine, is it drinking?
No, Judge, it was a positive drug test.
Okay. The reason I'm saying this is because of this, Mr. Vasquez, is that what you're doing now is you're pleading guilty to this offense, and your lawyer has, in essence, worked a gift for you that you're not going to end up in jail today. He's worked out an agreement. There's 3 days in jail, credit for the 1 day that you've done. He has also asked me to waive the fines and fees and surcharges that would normally come with this. And I'm thinking to myself, well, why would I do this when you continue to mess up?
Yeah.
I will not. And now I will honor the agreement, the 3 days in jail, credit for one. But I want you to understand that we mean business and we're not here to play games like you apparently think we are. You will now be required to pay the fines, fees, surcharges, and court costs. Is this a 0.15 or is this a regular?
0.122.
You will now be required to pay the $3,000 surcharge. You will also be required to pay the $500 and change court costs. And I'm going to tell you now that if you fail to pay it, every $100 you owe, you will sit 1 day in jail. So you can imagine how long you will sit in custody. We will help you to some point, but because you continue to play games, I'm done, and I'm not going to do this again. And if you fail to pay, and if you fail to live up to your side of the bargain, you will be doing a lot of time in jail. And I'm going to tell you now, if you pick up another DWI, everything doubles up. So the next time, it's around $7,000 in change. Not to mention a minimum now of 30 days in jail. Anytime you ever get pulled over, an officer will see that you have a prior DWI. And if you smell like alcohol, if you smell like dope, it's probably not going to go well for you if you're in a car. Do you understand?
Yes.
You were giving up a lot of rights by entering into this agreement. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you are not a citizen or a possible immigration consequence, you can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, it will go on your record. It's going to be there for the rest of your life. What we're doing today, from now on, it is a minimum of 30 days in jail. Do you understand? See,
Yes.
if I were you, even if you've had a sip of alcohol, I would not get into a car because you are playing Russian roulette with your life. How much are the court fees? That's it? So 3120? 3420. You will be required to pay $3,420 in fines and fees. And if you fail to pay it, it's 1 day in jail for every $100 that you owe. Do you understand? I will give you enough time to pay it. I'm going to give you 2 years to pay it. So it'll be around, 130 and change, maybe 140 bucks. But if you don't pay it, I will immediately issue a warrant for your arrest. And I'm going to tell you, like I told you, next time, everything doubles up. Do you understand?
Yes.
Plead to the offense of driving while intoxicated, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I will find you guilty. I will send it to the agreement. I am going to suspend your license for 180 days. Do not drive until you get a license. All right, see the clerk. Thank you, Mr. Whiteside. We'll send them down for Kiraz and then about noonish. Okay, all right. Thank you. Come on.
I have Sean Anguiano on docket. He's the one where his mom was here and he took him in custody 2 days ago. We got it set just for today. He said you'd release him.
How's jail?
Not good.
Great. Makes me very happy. The worse of experience you have, the higher likelihood you have of listening. That's all we're asking you to do, Mr. Anguiano. Your lawyer is asking me to let you out. What assurances do we have that you're not going to use?
I'm not going to use. I promise you I won't. I don't know how I can
We
put
did
it
last
to
time.
I don't know how I could put it to you, but I'm not going to use.
How old are you?
18.
I'll give you another chance, Mr. Anguiano, but I'm going to test you in 30 days.
Okay.
30 to 40 days. Is that Mo? No? I will test you 30 to 40 days. You test positive on me again, I'm not gonna let you out this time. Do you understand?
Sounds good. I
You've
understand.
got a great deal to get this thing dismissed. You don't have to do much. And I'm gonna tell you again, if you pick up another one of these cases, it's very possible that they seize and take the car away from whatever you're driving permanently, and you will lose that car. If you want to drive like this, there are certain places in Houston that you can do that. Not on 610, not on 59, not on the tollway. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay, but all right, this goes with you. Not with you, with you. All right, Mr. Andriano, make me proud.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're in
it.
high school, right?
Getting my GED.
No. You need to make that a part of it as well, man, so that we know this dude gets his GED, you know?
It's part of his bond conditions, and he's been studying for the test. So
Where are you now with it?
I just started about 2 weeks ago. I'm practicing for it.
Okay, I want you back in a week, and I want you to show me what you've done to get your GED. I'm not letting you go until you get this GED.
All right.
I'm not gonna sign the dismissal. I'm not gonna sign it. I want you to get your GED. You have the way to get this thing dismissed, but you gotta get your GED first. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay, so back in a week to 2 weeks to see what he's done. If you've done nothing, it's not gonna go well. It's part of your bond condition. I wanna see results when you get back here next time. You understand?
I understand.
All right.
All right.
Done.
We also have, it's an off docket matter.
She had it just in case it was.
Why are you here?
You said because of my ankle money.
You're not charging it. Battery's dead. Is the battery still dead?
It hasn't vibrated.
Is it operational or not?
Yes, sir.
I asked you to do one thing. What did I ask you to do? If I drug test you now, what's going to show up? That doesn't mean anything in our line of business. Pregnancy in the line of work that we have doesn't mean anything. I have people here that are still using when they're pregnant, and they have no clue what they're doing to their body, what kind of disaster they're creating to a human life, and what kind of lifelong babysitting they're going to have to do, because if you don't treat the baby well while the baby is in your tummy, it's like a little flower, right? Flowers need sunlight, they need food, they need water. And if a flower gets that, they grow into a beautiful flower, right? Same things with a baby. If it doesn't get the love, if it doesn't get the food, the nurturing, the prenatal vitamins, it's not going to grow into the beautiful flower that it normally would. I want to send her for a drug test right now. And then we'll have her come right back. If you fail to go take a drug test, if you fail to come back, it's not going to go well. Do you understand, Miss Brown? Okay, take a seat for me, man.
Why? He has this device on his phone.
I don't know, but a bond condition is a bond condition. And when you don't live up to the bond condition, there are consequences. Just like anything in life. When you have a criminal case, you have conditions that you have to live by. And when you don't, there are very serious consequences. Mr. Steyer, you're on bond for fleeing a police officer. So the report is that your device is in lockout, and it's been in lockout since 10/24.
Judge, can we address the need for this bond condition?
I don't remember the case, so let's do PC real quick.
Yes, Judge.
And then we'll go from there.
So on August 17th, 2024, at approximately 2 a.m., the officers observed a vehicle with a defective tail lamp and tried to initiate a traffic stop. The vehicle had ample opportunities to stop at multiple well-lit parking lots, but drove 0.46 miles of the final stop location. The defendant had red glossy eyes and continuously, I apologize. The defendant had red glossy eyes and the vehicle was running, and the officers also observed a slight odor of an alcoholic beverage from the defendant's body. The defendant had slurred speech and repeated, "I'm just trying to go home, I came from work," but the defendant could not specify his place of work. The defendant denied drinking alcohol, and the officers found an open container of color XO brandy container under the driver's seat and a Taurus pistol under the passenger seat without a holster.
So what bond conditions were on there that they're alleging him to have violated? Let's see. You wanna help me out?
Sorry?
This is Steyer,
Yes.
please.
I have one here. He doesn't have any previous violations, it's just that the device is a lockout.
What device?
The ignition interlock device.
So they put an ignition interlock. I guess the magistrate put an ignition interlock on it.
Charged with DWI.
Yes, conditions were ordered on August 28th. And
I get it, but he's alleged of alcohol in the car. I don't know. How, I mean, begs the question, why didn't they charge him?
It should have been a DWI judge, and we're talking to this officer. It should have been a different charge.
I can't say this should have been a different charge. We're supposed to, officers are officers. We're supposed to allow them to do their job, and when their job doesn't rise to what folk think it should be, then all of a sudden they didn't do their job right. We want to talk to the supervisor. Officer didn't charge him, he didn't charge him. So he only got charged with fleeing. I don't understand why he's got this device on his
Did they
car.
do field sobriety tests?
They did not, Your Honor.
There was no DWI investigation done at the scene.
Was there any indication that he was intoxicated?
Yes, he had slurred speech, red glossy eyes.
And an odor of alcoholic beverage.
Yes.
Maybe the officer didn't think it rose to the event. At any rate, the officer didn't call it in as a DWI. And whether the state thinks it's shoddy work or not, we don't punish the defendant because the officer did shoddy work.
Punish them for having bond conditions and not.
I fully understand that, and that's why I wanted to address the need for the bond condition as well as the bond. I understand that the machine's not working or it's in a lockout status, but I'd also like to address why. Why are we having it? So you didn't put it on there.
I didn't, but I think that it's a reasonable restriction when it is, for all intents and purposes, they just didn't charge it because maybe they had an officer that was a rookie, didn't know what they were doing. I can't tell you how many reports that I have see here that might as well have been written in Mandarin, you know?
From the business perspective, this is.
I understand
that we have to work with, and if they've got a rookie or if they've got a shoddy investigation, that shouldn't be his fault. Then that's their issue.
But it is his fault for not complying.
Absolutely.
The bond condition. Guess what happens now, Mr. Steyer?
Just don't say
What? What can you possibly say that can help?
I don't, like I was saying, I don't understand why it's locked. I called the people about it. I told them never like, it's a troubleshoot with your device. We'll try to figure it out on our end. But they never gave me no information about what to do.
He can remedy that today, Judge.
No. I want to figure out now. I'm not going to let him go and then try to figure it after the fact. I'd like to do it now. What do you think? Do you know why it's in lockdown?
I don't, that's what I'm looking at right now. So, because for all of our other devices, we have things sent to them, but since we have the ignition interlock, I don't see anything on the 24th or past that until the email sent to the DVR.
Would you mind looking into, please, as to why it's in lockout? It might take a little bit.
I understand.
Have you take a seat in the jury box while we figure this out, and then maybe 5-10 minutes, we'll come back and we'll
I
see.
understand.
And then
From the defense perspective, we should still address the need of this. I mean, the officer is part of the state. He is part of the state's witnesses. They didn't make the allegation. They didn't file the charges. I'm still contesting outside of the fact that the machine doesn't work. And mind you, he didn't make the machine. He doesn't calibrate the machine. If the machine doesn't work, that could be no fault of his own, and we can correct that today. But if the
let's do this, Mr. Slider.
Yes.
I was gonna send you now for a drug and alcohol test. Let's see what pops up. No,
That's fair, Judge.
All right. See how he's been behaving while he's on bond.
My judge just comes back with nothing on it. It will
Yes. This question is, if this drug test is clear free and clear of any alcohol, any drugs.
Let's cross that bridge when we get there.
We'll do,
Send you
Judge.
for a test now, and we'll go from there. If you're clean, it'll go a long way for you. If you're dirty, cross that bridge when we get there. My only concern, Mr. Steyer, is public safety. Nothing else matters in my life. And if you're gonna play adult games, or if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes or you get adult consequences, right? When you act like a child, we treat you like a child. If you do great things, then we congratulate you and reward you, right? Okay, just take a seat for a moment, Terry. We'll be back. All right, Mr. Fleischer. So if he's negative, it goes a long way. You know, sure.
Just make sure that you return.
Mr. Curry, Your Honor.
I believe he's pleading on the newer one, and the older one's being dismissed, if I'm not mistaken, on the cause numbers.
That's correct. The newer one, we're pleading.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Curry. How are you? Thank you. How come you don't show up?
I'm not from here. I wasn't able to get here in time. I didn't have I didn't know my way around good enough. I had lost my phone. I didn't have transportation.
Where are you from?
Mississippi.
Does he have a significant criminal history?
Does he have what?
Significant criminal history or kind of?
I haven't. There is out of state. I don't know what you would call significant, Your Honor. I would call it medium.
If you keep, you know, when you show up to court, things happen. When you don't show up to court, you got to also understand that when you keep picking up theft cases, Mr. Curry, when you keep picking up theft cases, they're going to hit you with a felony because they can use this to enhance your punishment to a felony, and then you're looking at years instead of days. What did I just say? Good. That's right. I just want to make sure that you're understanding. Don't pick up any more because you could be looking at years instead of days. You understand?
These are his only Texas charges, Your Honor. So you know.
You can use your out of state to and still enhance it. You understand, Mr. Curry? You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, you cannot change this or undo this. You understand? How do you plead to the offense of theft? Guilty or not guilty? Are you guilty of this thing? All right. I'll find you guilty. I'll send you to 3 days in jail. I'll give you credit for the 3 that you've done. Just be careful. Don't pick any more up. You understand?
Can I ask him a question real quick, Your Honor? Okay, you understand these are the target cases, yeah? Okay, that we talked about. Pleading guilty to one and they're dismissing the other one as part of the plea bargain. You understand that? Okay.
Greg, are they both at target?
Yes.
Mr. Curry.
But I want to make sure he understands what he's pleading to, Your Honor, because with the hesitation there. Okay. Theft is, you know, taking the property from target, passing all points of sale. Okay. And so if you did that and you want to plead guilty today, we can proceed this. If you didn't do this, like I told you in the back, and you're innocent of these, I do not want you doing this today. Okay. So again, when judge asked you, are you guilty or not guilty? How do you plead to that? Tell judge.
I want to tell you one more thing, Mr. Curry. When people pick up cases at certain locations, they put your picture on a wall so that every time you come in there, they might be looking. And if you go to the same place, they're going to know who you are. So as soon as you get there, they're going to have eyes all over you the whole time, and they're going to be looking at you. If you go back to this target, they're gonna have eyes on you the whole time. Do you understand? So probably be good, just don't go back to the target here. You understand? Are you sure you want to still do this? Are you guilty of the offense? Okay. Okay, great. All right.
Thank you.
Very good luck, man.
All right, come on this way.
Hey, Amy.
This way, right here.
Yeah, sorry.
Listen.
Good morning, Judge.
Oh, hey, good morning.
Yes, the one I just gave you.
Okay.
She hasn't signed it just yet.
Got it. Miss Oko, or I'm sorry, what was her name?
Miss Grayson.
Dominic Grayson.
Grayson?
Good morning.
All right, ma'am. So it looks like you are wanted out of the state of Orleans Parish, Louisiana, for aggravated battery by cutting. We're here and brought you out because we're under the impression that you want to waive formal extradition. I'm sorry?
I said I didn't want to waive it. I wanted to wait and for them to pick me up instead
Here's
of.
the thing, if you want them to pick you up more times, it's a lot faster if you waive, because we give them 14 days to come get you. But I'll let you know that we have so many people here from Louisiana. We've got buses coming in at least once or twice a week to come pick up people to take them back to Louisiana. If you refuse to waive, which is meaning that you don't want to sign, they're going to have to go get a governor's warrant, and then we reset it for 45 to 90 days for them to get the governor's warrant.
And Judge, I think she's switching. She's just switching the wordings. Miss Grayson, like I said, waiving actually means that you're waiting. You're going to wait for them to come pick you up. Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You're fine.
The only thing now that we're contesting in a fugitive case is identity. That's the only thing that matters at this point, right? So if that's not you, then that's when you contest. If it is, it's a lot quicker to waive. Because I'm telling you, if you waive now, what's today, Friday? At the latest, what, Monday?
Usually Monday, Tuesday, depending on which route.
Yeah, you'll be back in Louisiana. So did you want to waive formal extradition, man? Okay. We need you to sign it. We will wish you the best of luck and get you to Louisiana lickety split. Okay. All right, Ms. Grayson, thank you so much. Is nothing else today?
That's it.
Ah, easy money.
Thank you, Judge.
We are going to reset your case to give you time to hire a lawyer. As it stands now, you're not allowed to drive. And I'm putting in an order to DPS that you're required, if you at some point are going to drive until you get permission from us, you must have an interlock in your car. So, but like what I'm doing now is I'm putting an ankle monitor on you so I know that you're not consuming alcohol. I don't want you to consume illegal drugs as well. You will be randomly tested. If you consume anything like that, I'm going to put you in jail. And I'm telling you now, it's just not going to go well. All I want you to do is keep my county safe and be clean. Do you understand?
Sir.
I'm sending an order to the Texas Department of Public Safety. And this Texas Department of Public Safety knows that if you're caught driving a car, you were supposed to have an interlock in that car. If you're caught driving a vehicle that doesn't have an interlock on it, they're going to arrest you and put you into custody. Do you understand? What is your question, sir?
They scheduled my court date with my other court date, so it's interfering the times. I don't want to miss court on the 16th or 19th. Everything is good.
Next court date in felony court is the 19th. You want me to set up for the same day?
Oh, you guys have them both the same day at the same time?
So what typically happens is you come here, check in first, and then you go to felony. It's okay, but we do that so that you have to come back to downtown less. It's more to be, convenient and to be efficient. If you want me to put it on a different day, I can, but
I would appreciate it like that.
that way you come here, check in, let us know that you're here, and then you go to felony report, open up there, you come down.
Okay, no problem.
You need a lawyer, and I would get on it as quick as possible. Don't sit and wait because you're only going to be yourself. Okay? All right. I'll have a conversation with Victoria. We'll have you down. You're good to go. Court order is a court order. He's in lockout because he failed to go get it calibrated. Not because of this, not because of that, because he didn't call, no. You failed to go get it locked down, or you failed to go get it calibrated. That's why it's in lockout. I send you to go to test, and now you're testing positive for alcohol. Guess what happens now? That's right. Actions have consequences, Mr. Steyer. He goes with you. I'm sorry, but I can't continue to do it, man. It's unacceptable.
Judge, are you revoking his bond? What are you gonna set the new bonds at?
5,001.
5,000 more than the original bond,
Oh,
which is 5,000.
what's it at now? Is it 100?
Let me check.
It's at 100, so 5,001.
So $5,000 bond. Okay.
5,001, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Goes with you. All right. You have all these problems with money, all these issues with money, and yet you come in a Gucci jacket. Really? Really? What kind of foolishness is this, Mr. Segumbada? This is, I choose to spend my money where I want to spend it, and I'm not going to spend it on an interlock. That's what that foolishness is.
I had this is how it's.
Everything you tell me goes in one ear, goes out the other ear. Perception is reality, Segumbada. Okay? Anything less? No, it's disingenuous. And basically just, that's all it is. Disingenuity. So the deal is this, is that you have a very great program where you have the opportunity to get this thing dismissed, and you continue to play games. Is your device in lockout now?
My device.
It's a yes or it's a no.
It's been locked out since last week because it cut down my battery.
No, it's lockout because of one reason, and that's because of money. That's the only reason that what we know of it's in lockout. We called, we checked before you even got here. So we know you're $800 in arrears, and that's why you're in lockout. The only way for you to do it is to get back into good graces with them with either a payment plan or you pay it in full. So this is what we're going to do. I'm not going to play this game anymore.
I'm sorry, sir. I wasn't locked out because of payments. I had a payment plan with them for $120 every month.
Probation fees are.
Yeah, it was just my probation fee.
The device.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them with payments.
So is he in lockout now or is he not in lockout?
Service. Yeah, I did my service every month.
They're not going to lock out the device because of probation fees.
No.
It looks like he was blowing low on the device.
No, I was
with the device now.
No, the device was messing up with my battery. So it always messed up my battery. So once my battery cut off, it locked me out. So I have to call them up. So this is one thing I've been dealing with it. So I always make sure.
Give you until next week to get the device back in operational status. And if you fail to get it done, you are out of the program. Do you understand? You are lucky that Bioji is nice enough to stay on the case and not withdraw as it is with the games that you're playing with him and now with me. He may take it, but I'm not going to. If you continue to fail to have it, I'm just going to revoke your bond, put you in jail, and give you a 10-day trial setting. That's what's going to happen with your Gucci self. Do you understand?
I understand, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So today's the 1st. He has until the 8th to get the device in.
Just to be clear, is it that if he pays the back fees that he can be released from the program? Is that what's keeping him?
No. So what happens is if he gets the device back in from lockout, they want to extend it for 3 months to ensure that he is good because he's been in lockout for all that time.
Okay, so he needs to have a good 3 months of no issues.
The next, if you get it operational within the week, we will extend you for 3 months, but I'm going to put you on notice now. If it ever goes into lockout again, you are out of the program immediately, and I don't care what your excuse is.
I need to understand that this device is messing on my battery.
I'm giving you a week.
They always lock me out. So I always call them or send them email. I'll make sure I always do my service calibration.
Where did you go get the device?
Somewhere in Georgia.
And you need to go back to where you got the device to have it either fixed or exchange it for a different one. Or you get a different car to put it on. Because something is happening that is creating it to go in lockout. If it's not the money, then it's something else. To me, I don't care about excuses.
Probably just get a different car. I'll move it from.
Whatever you need to do.
Is it possible to go from car to, if it's the issue with it running out the battery, to on person?
No.
Okay.
Because they want to make sure that it's in a car so that if he's driving, he doesn't have alcohol on board. That's the spirit of the program is that you're not consuming alcohol while you're driving. That's it. I will give you a week.
Get a different car, sir.
You need to do whatever you need to do. If you fail to get it done in a week, you must be back here on the 8th, and then we will set your case for trial. If you get it done, then we will extend you for 3 months, but you are on notice now that if it ever goes into lockout again, you will immediately be set for trial, and I don't care what your excuse is.
I'll get a different car.
Understand?
I promise. Sir.
So don't wait until Thursday to go try to make everything work. Monday morning, I would immediately go to where you got it to do whatever you need to do to get it fixed. Do you understand?
I'm gonna get a different car and put it different.
Whatever you do doesn't matter to me, Mr. Bada. It doesn't matter. Just do what you need to do to get it working. And then what we'll do is we'll roll this case to Friday, come back. We need proof that he's actually got it done and that it's operational. We're not going to take your word for it. You have to give us proof that it's done. Then we get a 3-month extension and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for being so humble in allowing and staying on the case for him.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
He's my brother, same country.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Michael, do you have an offer on this case, on Miss Brown's
This
case?
is Miss Brown, Judge. Let me check.
I mean, it's 500 days old. It's so old that it's grown hair and it's sprouting legs.
This is Lyrindia Brown.
Yes.
Our offer was time served on the ABI, dismissed the criminal mischief. It looks like we had a plea filed on the 23rd of September, but I don't know if it went through.
Judge, I told Abel we were going to.
I called him.
Yes, sir.
I have Miss Brown in front of us, and she has failed to charge her device for the last, I guess, 3 days. Why are you not charging your device?
I just got out of the hospital Wednesday.
Why are we in the hospital?
I had gallbladder surgery and it's making bowel reflex. So I've been sick since October 14th.
Is everything better now?
No, sir.
Why not?
Because they can't do nothing because due to me being too far along in pregnancy. So I just have to deal with it and take the medicine that they gave me.
Did you make sure that the medicine is going to jive with the baby? You got to make sure anything you put in your body now, you've got another life in your tummy. If you take the wrong thing, it'll impact that baby. And the last thing you need is to become a lifelong babysitter because of something you take impacting the baby. There's so many drugs out there that can contradict what it can do to a baby. Anything you put in your body, you got to make sure that it is not going to harm that baby. Take your prenatal vitamins so that you know that the baby is getting enough nutrients as well. So, all right, I'm not gonna ding you on it, but I need you to start charging it again.
Yes, sir.
Easy money.
Thank you, Judge.